How you feel, Mike?
Awesome, dude.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Anabolic Network. We got a guest with us, JoJo Gonzales, IFBB Pro coach, trainer, works with a lot of local athletes here in San Antonio, trains here out at the Muscle Factory, which we're always grateful for them being so awesome and accommodating us whenever we have a request to let us get in here and get some content. You know, make sure they always treat us real well. We always make sure we're respectful to the gym as well. So it's a good community. So getting things started. Oh, Buddy Ogden, my co-host.
My name is Mike.
So jumping right into it, JoJo, as people start building routines, you know, we've been doing a lot of content on introduction to the gym, introduction to the lifestyle. As people are getting involved and getting comfortable in routines, seeing progress, naturally one of the first things, you know, once you hit like probably that year mark, maybe you just really start catching some discipline. Naturally, people want to start competing, pushing the limits, seeing how far they can take it. And I guess really more of an evaluation if they're really about that life, so to say. From that standpoint, with your experience, since you've obviously traveled the path, getting your IFBB Pro card, what made you want to compete? And what were the realities once you got into prep for that first competition that you didn't expect? You know, just can you give us a little bit of feedback on that experience?
Yeah, for sure. So really got into bodybuilding about 2020. Had no idea about men's physique. It wasn't even around yet. I mean, Instagram wasn't even a thing yet either. So, you know, two years into the journey, 2012, kept hearing about men's physique. I knew a couple buddies that were doing bodybuilding, but didn't know what they were doing. We weren't in communication like that. And found out men's physique was a thing, you know, beach body. Figure I kind of fit the mold there, had abs, you know, I was like 180 maybe. So it took 1 year of direct bodybuilding training to try to like figure it out. And little did I know, I knew nothing about the sport, you know, like if you know about training and all the good stuff, like that's how we fell in love with the sport, is through training. And then I found bodybuilding. A lot of people these days fall in love with bodybuilding without knowing the training. So that's kind of the one that I figure people need to realize first, like make sure you fall in love with the process. It's a long road, man. Like this is not something that happens quickly. And I realized that very quick where I was like, oh yeah, you know, first year competing, I need to grow. I'll take 6 months off. And you can do nothing in 6 months if you're really trying to make a dramatic change to the body. So it's just like understanding that the road is going to be a long one. And if you don't enjoy the process, it's pretty brutal, man. It's pretty brutal.
Let me ask you a question. So you're coming into prep, you decide, okay, I want to get things started. How much did your lifestyle change when you actually had to commit to a prep? Because obviously you were probably making gains, you were looking good in the gym, but then once you committed to that prep for that show, how did your eating habits change? How did your training habits change? How did the change in the diet plan affect you as a person, mentally, energy-wise, performance-wise? How were you able to handle all that stress for that first time? And circling back around, did it get easier for you as you competed more, or did you just have to rely on building good discipline and habits to make that process doable?
Yeah, so I mean, it was really easy to nail the whole, you know, what's responsible for what, right? Diet's responsible for training, training responsible for outcome. So that was just happening for me. It was kind of easy there. It was just like, I trained and I ate and I got results and I got sucked into that. You know what I mean? It was easy then. A lot less to do, a lot less responsibilities. I was 21, 22, man. Like everything I did worked. You know, that Cinderella period of the beginning of your career, you can do something wrong for a while and you're gonna get a lot of results from it. So in the beginning, it was just like having fun. There was balance, but balance was just one of those terms getting tossed around. The further I got into the career, the harder it got, right? You have to be more locked in the off season. Treat your off season like contest prep is how we do things nowadays. But like back then it was like post show, you go and F off and you go blow the body, get fat really quick and ruin your whole off season. And it was just over and over like that. So slowly it started getting, it's like, all right, like I gotta stay on the cardio year round. Okay, I gotta say no to these engagements because I'm staying out too late, messing up my sleep, messing up my schedule. So the deeper I got into it, the more dedicated I would have to be, just because the results didn't come as easy. You know, year 1 through 5, it was like everything was happening. And after that, to get the body to the next level, it just required more, man. It's always going to require more, but it's one of those things where it's like the balance comes from being able to do everything you need to do on top of bodybuilding. It's not bodybuilding and forget everything else. That can only lead to one road of just like unsustainable, you know?
Live your life first.
Yeah, man, it's got to be hand in hand, hand in hand.
So that takes us maybe into our second topic of discussion. So when you decided to do that first show, or once you got into it, at what point did you start working with a coach or trainer? Did you start off independently? Like I know, Mike, you competed multiple times. Did you start off just doing your own coaching and then you moved to a coach? And how did you make that transition? And in regard, when did you also make that transition to working with a coach or doing it by yourself? I guess, Mike, you want to touch base a little bit first?
So when I first started, I didn't really have the funds to even have a coach, let alone like keep up with like the diet and the food and the supplementation. So I had to do everything alone, and my basic knowledge came from just like anybody. You know, I read a book and it says, hey, do cardio, increase your cardio week by week, and then start decreasing food. So that was like my basic foundation. Decrease food, put yourself in a caloric deficit, increase cardio so you can like maximize your output so you're burning, you know. And then a lot of times I always tell people get a coach just because they hold you accountable. Like if you're paying an X amount of dollars and you want to stay focused, a coach is gonna like get on your ass about it. Like, hey, like weekly check-ins or daily check-ins. And if you're falling off by, you know, the scale or just the look, you can't lie to them. They're gonna know something's off. Like, hey, last week you were on point, you look crisp, but this week something's off. Like, oh, did you have a cheat meal or did you just eat off diet? Did you forget to do your cardio? Stuff like that. So I always felt like it was necessary for a coach if you have the funds for it. If you don't, then you just have to hold yourself accountable and then just trial and error, you know what I mean? Like you're not gonna come out the gate on your first prep or competition looking your best, you know what I mean? You might come in like underweight, looking kind of like soft or flat, and probably broke down a lot of your muscle. But again, that's what I look for too. Like whenever like there's a coach, like someone that actually like keep track of your progress.
Yeah, so when I first got into it, I mean, it wasn't around, but I was at this gym, Fitness 19, and shout out to Miss Olivia Terry. She was I think she was a women's bodybuilder at the time, turned pro there at that gym, and then transitioned to physique after that. But I saw her, man, I was blown away. I was like, holy crap, man, like she is developed, full, round. Like it was like the kind of the craziest physique I seen at the time. And for being a female, I was like, holy fuck, like I am way behind. So slowly I was asking her some questions, and you can just tell, because since she was on prep for nationals, you know, you can see in the face, she was like, oh, here we go with this kid, right? So I asked her what I could, got what I can from her. But the first couple of years was just bro science, man. Me and a couple buddies, shout out to Charles Smith and Jeremy Grant, love you guys. We just all teamed up together and we're just like figuring out what works, what doesn't work. Won a couple of local shows, or didn't win. Second, third, fifth at local shows. Got nationally qualified. Let's see what this is about, you know. Went to nationals, got second place. So one away from pro cards, self-coached. I mean, it was one of those things like, man, one away, right? I was like, let's just give this everything. After that, I kind of realized like making the calls on our own and seeing Jeremy do his stuff for himself and Charles doing stuff for himself, it wasn't necessarily working for me. Because different age groups, you know what I mean? I was really young at the time. So reached out to a guy biggest guy in the gym, tad as hell, he was monstrous. I was like, hey man, I'm trying to get big. And Joe Weiss, you know, I got to give him credit, picked me up. And we did some good work, man. Like he was one of those guys, I just believed everything he said, which was to my young brain, not the best idea at the time, but he had the keys to success for me, right? Taught me how to do a couple things. And then ended up turning pro with the guy. So I was like, man, this is the dude, you know, like he peaked me, everything went well. And on top of that, going to nationals from year 2014 to 15, I was seeing a massage therapist and a chiropractor. I gained half an inch and moved me a height class. So being in that crap position, being in a bigger class, we had to do some crazy food adjustments so I can be fuller for that next height class. And it worked. Turned pro, won overall, my first one ever. And it was just gung-ho after that, man. We did, a week later, we did Europa Europa here in Dallas. Second place, one away from the Olympia qualification. 5 weeks later, Dallas Pro or Houston Pro, one of those, won that one and straight to Olympia in 2015. And that's where I started to learn where pressure situations can change things. And my coach and I fell off that whole process. Like, it was not a good look. It wasn't a good feel. And going into the show, I was kind of having some reserves, but you're not going to back out of Olympia, you know? And just while we were out there, it kind of all went downhill between us, and the peak didn't go well, you know? So that is a bummer. That is a little bit of regret that I have in the sport, which is why I'm doing my best to get back to Olympia, doing everything I can. But yeah, that was one of the ones where, like, they could get you somewhere, but like, what is the peak of that coach? That is something you need to know, is like, what is their ability? Is it the highest possible? Is it just like, because any coach can get a high level athlete to certain spots. But when you're talking about peaking pros or peaking someone multiple times in a year, that's when it gets real difficult, right? 4 weeks between shows, what do you do? 6 to 7 weeks between shows, I wouldn't even do that. It's just too hard to maintain that body throughout that process. So there's a lot of learning through that. And I got where I am now by just learning from failures, you know? Just like I did growing up, my parents told me everything not to do, and did I listen? Absolutely not. And I had to learn the hard way. So same in bodybuilding, you know, kind of stick with him as long as I could, but I saw my ceiling with him and had to move away from that. Yeah.
I remember me and JoJo are both local guys. Mike was coming up a few years behind us, and I remember when JoJo was with that bigger, faster, stronger crew.
Oh my God, yeah, man.
And would you say that your environment, that being around that group of guys, was one of the driving factors, the community played a big part in that?
It was everything, man. It was everything. Like, they were all, I mean, there was still no Instagram, you know what I mean? So it was just like the boys learning what we can learn. And it was a camaraderie that I missed from like sports, you know, football, baseball, and growing up with the boys. And coming out here, I didn't have any friends. Like, I moved out here the day after I graduated, and finding those guys, it was like, okay, this is fun. And then we all progressed, you know, Jeremy turning pro, and everyone, I mean, bigger, faster, stronger ended up being pretty big. We had 3 locations in town. So I was living the life, you know, working at a nutrition shop, going across the street to train, come back, eating my meals, and just bumming it all day in the nutrition shop. It was the best. It was, yeah, all day, every day, man. It was freaking awesome, dude. I loved it. I
remember that. No, that was cool. I want to say, I mean, JoJo, you had to be, when you got your pro card, and physique had only been out a few years, right?
Yeah.
So, I think when you were one of the first local guys.
I was the first San Antonio men's physique pro, first San Antonio Olympian. I think John Jewett is right after that, which he ended up getting 4th that year. Props to him. So I was really early in it, and I just felt like I got lucky. I was the right body type at the right time in the new sport. You know, now it's a little bit different. I mean, look at any division. We got wellness now. I mean, look at True Novice, it's a whole other section, but wellness is new. Bikini is going to another kind of stage in their development. Men's physique is obviously, as you guys see now, they're pretty big dudes. Classic is its own thing. It's almost like a bodybuilding division now. So it grows, but in the beginning, it was like, there's only so many handful of guys doing it. You kind of pick of the litter who's showing up, you know? So I think I got lucky in that sense. I've never believed in genetics. I don't even think I have good genetics now. I just think that I have a no-quit attitude, but genetically, I can look back and be like, okay, you know, being at that age, that development, that's pretty nice to have at that time. You know, I felt like I got lucky in a sense of coming up at the right time, and not having no oversight either. Like, there was no one doing it really well. You can be like, I got to change what I'm doing to do that. Nowadays, get on Instagram and everyone's a self-coach, so it's kind of confusing a lot of people now. But really, man, it's like, during that whole process, all the way till now, it's like, master the basics, like, of everything, like your own life and how you're doing your own scheduling, how you're dealing with your people, food, training, like just the basics. Master that, understand that, and then slowly, if you need to, add more to the body, right? Add more to the technique, add more to the discipline, but master the basics and then exceed that information you need to go to whatever level you need to go to. You know, if you're a pro level, you got to do pro level stuff. If you're local level, I would still say do it pro level stuff, but learn, figure it all out before getting in there, because a lot of people want to do bodybuilding, and I think about it like MMA. It's like, I want to be an MMA champion. Well, how many crafts do you know? I can street fight. It's like, man, it's going to be rough for you. You need to master all these things to be in a one. It's the same in bodybuilding, man. You really have to get your knowledge up across you know, your own labs, your own training, your own diet, and then implementing someone else as a coach is like, there's a love language there too. It takes a little bit of time to understand how to push someone or how to relay information, right? Like, hey, you're not doing well. If you're saying that first, you're kind of like, oh man, I suck. But if you're like, hey man, thanks for doing this, you're killing this, you're doing that, we do need to work on these things. You know, there's little things like that to get someone that's not really aware yet to where they need to be.
Proper motivation.
For sure, for sure. And it's different, right? Like, do your effing job. Yes, sir. Do your effing job. Oh, he yelled at me. So there's definitely that love language that has across the board, right? Whether it's a good coach or bad coach, like that's a big one. Like people hire coaches without knowing them. I'm like, at least get a verbal of some sort.
Jojo, let me ask you this. For those who don't know, what is the difference between, I know Mike touched on it a little bit, but what's the difference between a trainer and a coach?
Oh, man. Whew. That's a big one. How much time we got? A trainer should know the basics of functionality, right? It's like just normal training, normal things to improve the physique or performance. A coach wears many hats. It could be therapist, it could be doctor sometimes, it could be a coach. There's so many hats you can wear as a coach, but a trainer should only be focused on your abilities and improving that. A coach is looking at how you're handling life, how you're doing at work, loved ones, training, mental, physical, man. Like you're really peeling the onion back per individual of like, what's the keys to success? What are they missing? And how do I bring that to this individual? Or how do I open them up to more? So it's one of those things where it's like, me personally, I like to handle my clients' training because I know their food amount. Like if a trainer doesn't know the food amount and you're still doing off-season work on contest prep, you're gonna come across an issue, and it's gonna be a need of something, a recovery need or a food need. Now, pairing, Seneca Williams here is a great trainer at the Muscle Factory. I love the guy. He works with a lot of my females. I show him the diets that I have for the girls. I have my girls show him the diet, and he kind of knows when to pull back or not. And we'll have this flow state of like, hey man, she's 10 weeks out. We need to change this, or she's 20 weeks out. We have time to add this. So in relation, it works great. But having two of them on opposite pages, that's where you kind of see down the line having some issues happening.
Okay, so Justin, how are we looking on time? Okay, so we got about 6-8 minutes.
Yeah.
So now that we touched on that, so Jojo, you just mentioned that you might act as a coach, you get in touch with the trainer, y'all communicate. You also mentioned that you work with a chiropractor and a massage therapist.
Oh yeah.
Is that something that maybe a lot of people might be misinterpreting about this, getting into the higher level of this sport, that it really becomes, you might go from your first show where you coach yourself, like Mike said, because financially that's what makes most sense. You're probably young,
Sure.
You want to get active. That's the only way you know how. As you evolve in this sport, as your passion grows, and hopefully I would assume as your body and mental progresses and your passion for this thing evolves, how important is it to have a team? Mike, I know you work with a trainer, I know, or a coach, I know you have a massage therapist. How often are you going to see them? And Jojo, after Mike's done, if you don't mind elaborating on how important is it to have that structured team, and how do they synergistically bring the best out of every athlete?
Yeah.
So I've dealt with like a few coaches that have like good reputable reputations and athletes. I didn't plan on going pro just because like he said, it takes a lot out of you and it's just a lot of work, but I wanted to be able to find a coach that was actually good at what they were doing. Because I had a coach where they would just give you, or like maybe just their athletes or clients, basic cookie cutter like breakdowns, and I knew that he was just giving you basic plans that everyone, it wasn't actually molded for yourself, and he didn't like change to like a plan that worked for me. So that was like one thing that I looked for in a coach, and I asked people too, if you're looking for a coach, make sure like when they're looking at your blood or like they're dialing in and pretty much trying to figure out your physique, like he said, when it comes to the food and all that, those are big factors if you're looking for a coach. And then as far as like you said, like a team, it's always good just because they're gonna pretty much keep you in check. as far as like recovery too. I didn't have like a big name chiropractor or like a massage therapist. I just went to someone that one worked for me. I take a lot of beating, so if somebody's in there, like I tell them, hey, do what you got to do to like make me recover on point at an adequate rate, and pretty much just help my recovery process. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, man. So, I mean, first and foremost, if no one tells you this, I'm glad you're hearing this now, but bodybuilding is a rich man's sport played by poor men and women. Like, let's get that out of the way. It's a hobby, right? A lifestyle for most, but it's a hobby. Being that having, I'll go back. It's like people that don't enjoy their rest days because they want to train. I personally believe they're not training hard enough. So if you're training hard every day or however many times a week, and you don't do that recovery process, you're gonna get run down, man. You're gonna get injured. And I don't care what age you are. I've tried it. I've tried not doing it. You know, I started at 20, first competition was at 23, Olympia at 25. I'm 36 now, and I'm still competing. And it's like, the more I took care of the body, the more I got out of it. The less I did, the more I got hurt. It was like, I always needed a chest. Even now, they still tell me more chest, which is very sad to hear, but they're still saying I need more chest. And during all that time without any kind of health measures or recovery measures, I was getting hurt like every 6 months, man. I would grow 6 months hurt, 3 months off, get back at it again, 6 months. And that up and down, man, you're not really growing. You're just getting hurt all the time. So slowly and slowly, I start to see like, all right, man, like, it's harder to put weight on. I got to go heavier more. I got to eat more. I got to train more. And then the body just gets broken down over time. It's like, I got to do something. And slowly you go from just being beat every day from, okay, I'm recovering pretty quick, you know? So massage does really good work of moving tissue around, any kind of locked up joints or just stuff not moving properly. Chiropractic actually gives your body the ability to heal itself over time. So doing both is where I started to see real good value. I was just doing massage for a while, but synergistically doing both at the same time made a big difference. Now, in terms of like team, and it's tough with a team situation. It's great to have like-minded individuals around. It's great to be around a group. But if it's like, hey, buddy, me and you are going to kill it for 6 months, we're going to grow, and middle of the way, you're like, man, I'm just not into it. I'm done. You know, my motivational key to the gym there that day is not there, and I don't want to train as hard. So enjoy the group, but don't really rely on that the entire time, because this is a self-individual sport. Like, if no one's there and no one's cheering for you and no one's doing anything for you, you still got to get up and do the cardio, man. You still got to get those meals in when no one's watching. You still got to train the muscle groups you don't like to train. It's just one of those things where it's a self-reliant sport. Now, being in a group, people cheering for you, it's always great. It's always awesome, and it feels good. And I try to have my athletes team together, but still, I don't want everyone to train together. I don't want everyone to see how everyone works. I want everyone to find their own way and their own processes and enjoying it that, because if you can do it on your own, longevity, you're good. If you're always relying on someone to be there, it'll trickle in where you're like, I'm not showing up on that day because they're not there. Or, hey man, it's not that sunny today, I'm not gonna go. Any little thing like that, and that just hinders progress over time. And this game is all about consistency, man. Stacking good days into good weeks, to good months, into many years if you can. And that's where the recovery comes in. We are a machine, man. If you're not treating the machine like you're supposed to, it's gonna break down. It's like, you can run a go-kart every day full blast, but get a freaking F1 car, it's not gonna happen. You know, you gotta treat that a little differently. So the deeper you get, the more bigger you are, the more stronger you get, the more the body needs. It's just, you can't continue to push without having that recovery capacity. And then as far as the team, man, it's all great and gravy, but self-reliance is huge on this sport, for sure.
All right, guys, that's probably gonna wrap it up for today. We're gonna big thank you to JoJo.
For sure. Appreciate you
my
guys.
Thank you so much for doing this with us.
Yeah, pleasure.
Always gratitude to the Muscle Factory for being such a good host to us and always showing so much support for any and everything we do. If you're in San Antonio, you definitely got to stop in, check it out. It's an amazing community, amazing environment. Thank y'all for tuning in. Just a quick disclaimer. We are not medical professionals. We are not doctors. If anything, JoJo's a coach and a trainer. If anything, we are consultants. Just don't want to give anybody the wrong idea or mislead anyone on that level. And thank y'all for tuning in. Make sure you hit the subscribe button at the bottom. Give us a like, give us a share. And please let us know if you're enjoying the content. Let us know what else you want to see.